Welcome to The Code, your guide to health and human performance. I'm your host, Dr. Andrew Fix from Physio Room, a performance-based rehab facility here in Denver. On this podcast, we're going to explore the key areas of your life that impact your overall health and wellness, from sleep hygiene and stress management to nutrition, movement, relationships, and more. We bring you conversations with industry experts and top performers to share strategies they have for cracking the code on health and human performance. Now let's get to today's show. What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Code. Again, Dr. Andrew here from Physio Room. I'm actually sitting inside of our Highlands Ranch, South Denver Physio Room office this morning, coming to you on this episode about goal setting. So quicker, short episode, solo episode here, like you see our cadence on this show. But this is going to be so relevant to everything that you have going on in your life, right? It doesn't matter if it's performance. It doesn't matter if it's your home life, your work life. Goal setting is important for all of that stuff. And, goal setting is not the easiest thing in the world to do. It's tough, or at least it's tough for me to sit down and go through like what my goals are. What is the trajectory that I'm hoping to be on? What am I hoping to accomplish over this next period of days? So for example, work-wise and personal life-wise, I sit down once a quarter and go through and set my 90-day goals for the quarter that's ahead. And then I review those monthly, right? So I review what my quarterly goals were on a monthly basis to make sure, am I on track? Am I not on track? And so that's sort of what I want to talk about today, setting goals and how to be effective with those goals. Now, cliches don't become cliches because they're not true or because they're not relevant, right? So we're going to talk through something that you've probably heard before, or hopefully you have heard before, and that's setting SMART goals. S.M.A.R.T, SMART goals. So there's a couple different, sources that you could find that the word for each one of these letters in this acronym stand for something different, but generally speaking, they're all basically the same. So SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound or time dependent. So let's just run through right from the top, and I'll give some little examples as we go here of, types of goals that we could set. It's easy to think about, so let's just say somebody is trying to either lose weight or gain weight. Maybe they're trying to build some muscle, gain some weight. Or they're trying to lose weight. Maybe I'm going to a wedding this Friday. So maybe someone's trying to lose weight and tone up for their wedding that they have coming up, right? So if someone's going to set a goal and weight loss is the goal, something that's not going to likely be very effective is setting a goal that just says I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight for my wedding. It sounds great. Sounds great in theory, but why? So first and foremost, before you decide to set a particular goal, it's really, really helpful from an accountability standpoint and from a motivation standpoint to have a really firm understanding of why. What is the reason behind that goal? Right? Because if there's not something really strong that you're motivated by as the why to your goal, it's going to be really hard to stick to the things that you need to when times get tough and when obstacles show up along the way. So what is your why? Before we even get into the SMART acronym, what's the reason? So you've got a firm reason. I want to look better for my spouse, for my family, for myself at my wedding day. Great. That's a great motivation. So if we go through and use the SMART acronym, specific. How much weight do you want to lose? And by when, right? The date of the wedding. So I guess that's the when, but having real numbers and real deadlines for your goals are really more effective for helping you stay on track, right? In this example, losing weight, is it measurable? The M, is it measurable? We know what gets measured gets managed, right? Whether that's the KPIs or the key performance indicators that you're tracking for your business or your job. It's something that you can measure. It's something that's tangible that as you measure it, you can see, is it going up? Is it going down? Is it improving how I want it to improve? And if not, you know what levers you can pull to try and change that. So making sure that you have a goal that's something you can track, right? Something trackable, something measurable. Is it attainable? So how far out are you from the wedding or from whatever, the time frame is that you're setting this goal? Is your goal attainable? Right? Is it something that you physically can do or you mentally can do? Is it challenging for you, but is it still possible? Right? So for example, it would be silly to set a goal to like lose 10 pounds in a week. Is that attainable? Yeah, maybe, but it's probably not the healthiest thing to do. You could do that with a lot of water weight changes, like I used to do in wrestling season back in high school. Not the best way to go about things. Is your goal challenging, but is it still feasible? Right? Is it what we would call attainable? Now let's jump to the R. Is it realistic? Is the goal that you're trying to set and the time domain that you're trying to accomplish it in, is that a realistic thing? And be honest with yourself. Are you setting a goal that you really think if you put, the hard work into it, you can achieve and you're actually capable of it? Don't forget about any obstacles and hurdles that'll come along the way. And I'm not telling you to sandbag your goals and not do things that are challenging and not to dream big, but doing small bite-sized chunks is so much more effective than trying to take over the world overnight, right? So is the thing that you're trying to do realistic? So like, for example, say you get about 5 hours of sleep a night, and then you decide to set a goal for by next week, Monday, I want to achieve 8 hours of sleep every single night. Now, is that realistic? There's probably some obstacles or some hurdles in your life that are causing you to only get 5 in the first place, whether that's lifestyle things or whether that's sleep hygiene, or maybe you're a new parent and you have kids that are keeping you up, right? It's probably not realistic to jump from 5 to 8 in a week. How about we try 5.5? And once you have that down, how about we try 6 hours of sleep and 7 and 8? Don't try to go from 5 to 8. Don't try and almost, improve your sleep by like 40% overnight. So that's what I mean by realistic, right? Is it something that is actually achievable and realistic in that time frame? And then speaking of time frame, the T, time bound, right? What is the deadline for the goal? You don't want to set a goal that says like, one day I want to achieve this. And that's great to have those ideas and those grand, visions, but it is so much more likely to actually happen if you give yourself a time, if you give yourself a time frame. So maybe it's, 1 year from now, I hope to accomplish X, Y, and Z, and this is how I'm going to do it. These are the specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound things that I'm going to do to accomplish said goal. And then maybe you have a 3-year goal and a 5-year goal. Maybe you do have a big someday goal, right? What I like to do is I like to work backwards. So what is the big, huge goal that you have for your life? What is something that you want to accomplish? Is it, I want to have time and financial freedom to be able to spend quality time with my family whenever and wherever, I want to. I want to be able to, leave work or work when I want to, or be able to like leave at the drop of a hat. If someone in my family needs something, I want to be able to have the time and financial freedom to do that. That's a wonderful goal. Okay. But how are we going to get there? Let's start to work backwards. So if that's the case, and that's what you want to do one day in life, where do you need to be 10 years from now, from whatever age you are? And then if you keep going backwards, where do you need to be 5 years from now? And what about 3 years from now? So imagine, as we're going through this, imagine these things in your mind. Where do you need to be 1 year from today to work towards that big goal of your family? Right? And then let's start to break it down into bite-sized chunks that you can actually see and have tangible to you and actually start to accomplish. in the next 90 days, what are you going to accomplish that's going to set you on the correct trajectory to reach that ultimate goal? What are you going to do in the next 90 days, the next quarter of the year? How are you going to accomplish that? So this is a wonderful strategy for goal setting, to take the big goal and to work backwards and break it down and break it down and break it down until you finally have something that seems realistic and attainable to you. And then set that goal with something that's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound, and then go after it like it's the most important thing in your life. And if things come up along the way, obstacles come up that kind of derail you from that, that's okay. Just jump right back on track and move towards that goal. Okay. So before we wrap this episode up, after you have your great goal established and set, you follow the SMART goal principles. Two pieces that often get, forgotten, or at least if you implement these, can make it way more likely that you're actually going to accomplish whatever your goals are that you set for yourself, is implement some form, whether it's another person, whether it's you to yourself, whether it's you to a coach or your coworker or your boss, some form of accountability. How are you going to hold yourself accountable towards the steps that you need to take in order to reach your SMART goal? Right? So whether that's you journaling daily or weekly, whether that's you communicating with somebody on your progress, how are you going to hold yourself accountable? Okay, so keep that in mind. Put something in place that's going to help you stay accountable. And then when are you going to take a minute to reflect? When are you going to take a minute to sit back and think about, the past week, for example, like, okay, these are the choices I made. These are the reasons I made them. And this is how it affected my progress towards my goal. Either it helped or it didn't. Maybe it stayed, neutral, but is it serving me? Is it not serving me? What's the reflection period? And then use that reflection to go back and modify and change course. Because we know if we're shooting for something, some goal, and we're just like 1 or 2 degrees off over the course of a long period of time, that's going to drastically impact how likely we are to achieve that goal. Right? Imagine you're like flying in a plane from Los Angeles to New York. You're flying all the way across the country. And the pilot of that plane has the trajectory set just 1 or 2 degrees off from their target. By the time you get all the way west to east across the country, can you imagine how far off you're going to be? I mean, you're not going to even come close to landing in New York. Say you're like 1 degree off to the right in this case, you're going to wind up probably down in like North Carolina or something. You're going to wind up so far off from where the goal was, New York, that you have to spend some time reflecting and redirecting along the way. And that's going to make it so much more likely that you're going to hit those goals. And that's what we're about on this show. We're about results. We're about progress. We're about taking little steps of improvement every day, every week, every month to push you in the direction of your goals. All right, guys. SMART goals, again, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. That's the message here. Go out and do it. Set your goals if you don't have them so that you know where you're going, so that you're more likely to get there. Thanks again for tuning in to this episode of The Code. Again, I'm your host, Dr. Andrew Fix, and we will catch you next time. Thanks so much.